There is a clean bowl of water sitting in your kitchen right now, and your cat would still rather drink out of your glass or the bathroom tap. Most owners decide their cat is just being difficult. She is not. She is telling you something very specific about that bowl, and it has almost nothing to do with the water inside it. By the end of this, you will know the 5 things that make a water bowl wrong and how to fix every one of them tonight. No scare stories, no gadgets, just what your cat is actually reacting to. And stay with me, because there is one spot in your home where a water bowl does the most good, and almost nobody puts one there. Why this hits cats harder? It is not stubbornness, it is wiring. Your cat is not built to feel thirst the way you are. In 2007, a genetic study led by Carlos Driscoll traced the house cat back to the wild cat of the Near East, an animal that lived in dry country. Those ancestors took most of their water from what they caught, not from standing water they had to go and find. So the thirst signal that sends you to the sink never developed very strongly in your cat. A thirsty dog will drink from a bad bowl in a bad spot because thirst pushes him there. Your cat has almost no push, so if the bowl is even slightly wrong, she simply does not bother, and nothing inside her argues with that, which means the location of that bowl is not a small detail. It is most of the decision. Mistake 1. The bowl is right beside the food. This one is almost always done out of kindness. Food here, water here, everything in one tidy corner. It looks like good ownership. To your cat, it reads as a problem. Most feline behaviorists explain it the same way. In the wild, water sitting right next to a kill is water worth being suspicious of. So a lot of cats carry a quiet reluctance to drink where they eat. Not every cat, and not dramatically. Just enough hesitation that she skips it, and skipping it costs her nothing she can feel. Move the water out of that little station. A different counter, a different corner, across the doorway. Far enough that drinking is its own event, not an extension of dinner. Mistake 2. The bowl shares a room with the litter box. Your cat has a sense of smell far sharper than yours. What reads as clean to you does not read as clean to her, and she will not happily drink beside the place she toilets, for exactly the reason you would not. This happens most in small flats and bathrooms, where the tray and the bowl end up on the same tiles because that is the easy floor to wipe. Move one of them, ideally the water. And here is the honest version, because not every home has spare space. If they truly must share a room, get as much distance and as much of a visual break between them as you can. A cabinet, a corner, anything that makes them feel like 2 separate places. Some separation beats none. Mistake 3. The bowl is backed into a corner. This is the one nobody guesses. If her bowl is tucked against a wall under a shelf in a spot with one way in and one way out, that matters more than it sounds. Drinking puts a cat's head down and her attention away from the room. That is a vulnerable few seconds, and cats are wired to dislike being cornered during vulnerable seconds. This is not a fringe idea. Dr. Tony Buffington and his team at Ohio State spent years studying how a cat's environment affects her health and found that changing that environment, including how her basic resources are laid out, made a real difference to cats with recurring urinary trouble. The plain version is this: where you put things changes how a cat uses them, and how a cat uses them shows up in her body. So pull the bowl out of the dead end and give her a sight line. A spot where she can lower her head and still see the room with space behind her is a spot she will actually use. Quick one before the next mistake, and this is the one I am most curious about. Tell me in the comments where your cat actually chooses to drink. The tap, a glass, the shower floor, somewhere strange. I read every single one, because the next mistake is the one almost every cat owner is making right now, including the careful ones. Mistake 4. There is only one bowl, and it is on the wrong floor. Think about your cat's actual day. She has a morning spot, an afternoon patch of sun, an evening perch, a place she sleeps, and usually one bowl in the kitchen, because that is where we keep things. Which means for most of her day, having a drink is a decision and a journey, and she has almost no thirst push to make that journey worth it. So she does not go. The fix is not a better bowl, it is a second bowl, and if you have stairs, a third. Put them where she already is, not where you already are. Beside the sunny window, near the sofa she owns, upstairs close to wherever she sleeps. This matters even more for an older cat or one with stiff joints, where a flight of stairs is a genuine reason not to bother. Water she trips over gets drunk. Water she has to plan for does not. Mistake 5. The bowl itself is working against her. Deep and narrow is the wrong shape. You may have heard this called whisker fatigue, and I want to be straight with you about it. The idea that pressing whiskers against a bowl is uncomfortable is popular and plausible, but it is still debated rather than settled. What is not really debated is that plenty of cats visibly prefer a wide, shallow dish they can drink from without their face touching the sides. So use one and fill it right up so she is not dipping her head into a well. And change it daily. Water that has sat all day picks up dust and the smell of the room, and she notices that long before you do. A rinse and a refill costs 15 seconds. The spot, I promised you, where the water actually belongs. Here's the place almost nobody uses, and your cat has already picked it out for you. Watch her for a day. Not where she eats and not where you would put a bowl. Where she stops. Where she pauses on her way through the house. Where she settles when she is relaxed. Where she lands after a nap. That is the spot. Open enough to see the room, away from food, away from the tray, on her route rather than yours. Put a wide, shallow bowl of fresh water exactly there, and watch what happens over the next 3 days. Most owners are genuinely surprised, not because she was thirsty all along and suffering, but because the bowl was finally somewhere that made saying yes easy. The honest truth, for the owner whose cat drinks from the tap. If you are thinking my cat ignores every bowl I have ever bought and drinks from the tap, you have not failed at anything. You have a cat who found running water, which is fresher and more interesting to a lot of cats, and solved her own problem. That is not a broken cat. That is a smart one, and it is information. She is telling you she likes her water moving and away from her food, which is exactly what this whole video has been pointing at. Let her have the tap if she loves the tap. Just add the bowls too, in the right places, so she has options on the days you are not there to turn it on. If your cat's drinking changes noticeably, either a clear drop or a sudden jump to far more than usual, that is worth a routine vet check. Not a panic, and usually nothing dramatic. Just one of those things a good owner mentions at the next appointment rather than sitting on. You know your cat's normal better than anyone. Trust it when it shifts. Closing. So tonight, do one thing, not 5. Move that bowl out of the corner or away from the food, or put a second one where she sleeps. One change, and give her a few days with it. Because your cat was never refusing the water. She was refusing where you left it. And that is a much easier thing to fix. If this made you look at that bowl differently, A-Like helps YouTube put honest cat information in front of the next owner still wondering why their cat will not drink. And if you would rather understand your cat than guess, that is the whole reason this channel exists. I will see you in the next one.